It's really funny because like all his older pictures are him in his uniform holding up a bunch of cash because like that's all you play like little tournaments for cash.
Yep. All singles?
No, they're like 20s and 50s. He's won money.
Right.
All right, we're up. Welcome back to Nonsense, y'all. Yep.
Cool. Time to get out your really offensive takes, guys.
You motherfuckers.
Speaking of that, didn't I just see Tom Brenneman's back?
Is he?
He just got hired by somebody, yeah.
No.
Where did he get hired?
So
let's go.
I had to
get hired by Ole Miss. The way they're hired.
I had to that prompted me to go back and watch the Castellanos home run again. One of the greatest things that's ever happened in sports, honestly.
Amazing. It's a high drive.
That'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
That'll make it a 4-0 ball game. I'm so sorry.
I don't know if I'll ever be putting this headset on again.
Yeah.
There's something far more dark. Is like, I don't know if you're ever going to hear from me again.
Yeah.
It was so much. I feel like it was so much more dark than that.
Yes. My boss at Fox might put a hit out on me after this. I don't know.
I'm not seeing anything about him getting a new job. There are apparently a bunch of like people arguing that it's time for. Oh wait, no, never mind.
What's his
Is it
name?
like a Tom Brenneman? THOM.
Yes, THOM.
Maybe I heard wrong.
Well, so I will say there are apparently like there are like columnists in Cincinnati arguing that it's time for him to get a second chance, but yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything about him.
The last I'm seeing is he
at least not recently.
Yeah, the last thing I'm seeing is he broadcasted in the Roberto Clemente League. Whatever that is.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not you've made it back.
No. Okay. So, yeah, then I heard wrong. Interesting.
Yeah, last thing I'm seeing is about 2 years ago he was doing high school sports.
Classic Billy football lying about things.
Why are you believing anything from the school?
Seriously, you deserve to be lied to.
Well, no, I don't think he was lying. He probably just saw some random person on Twitter.
PFT came back out with Leroy's something about his dog Twitter page.
Yeah.
And I actually saw his tweet about Daniel Jones and the contract before I even saw anything else's. So I'm like,
yeah.
PFT had the inside scoop.
Oh yeah. PFT's got sources. Yeah. Yeah, he said he was bringing back. He was bringing it back because of the Schefter thing, with Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Just to spite Schefter.
Great segue to Corey talk about Lamar.
Oh yeah, that was going to be my thing. I was going to bring up the whole Lamar Jackson situation going on, and I saw something earlier by one of my friends, and I was like, it's a good point. Where I think, it's good to have, or it's good to like represent yourself, but I also feel as though him not having like an agent is also hindering him on getting a better contract.
Yeah.
Well, okay. It also, agents serve a very valuable role in that both sides kind of have to make insulting first offers, right? Like the team has to make a first offer that the player would find insulting. And the beautiful thing about an agent is the player never has to hear that offer. Whereas now Lamar has. So even if he sticks around, that's always going to be there that like, oh, y'all thought I was worth that. Like there is, I know that like people look at it and it's like, oh, they just come in and, argue back and forth a little bit and you wind up with a, contract and they get 4%. They do have an actual role to play.
That's a big role too, obviously for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Like
I think if I'm insulted by an offer of Lamar, it's the two first round draft pick. Like
Yeah, the fact that nobody is willing to make an offer for him on this like franchise tag thing, I don't understand.
Yeah, so Falcons said no, Carolina said no, Dolphins are out, and then what was the other team that was out?
And
Washington.
Commanders. Yeah. So I don't. But who else needs a quarterback? Like that.
I'm not like, as a Chargers fan, I'm not saying the Chargers need to get in on this.
No, I'm saying
won an MVP on his rookie contract. Those guys never become available.
Right. I'm just saying, like, I don't even know who. Like, Happenstance. I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I was thinking, like, who needs a quarterback?
Well, I think
honestly, if I was the Giants, I would have looked at this before I gave Daniel Jones $40 million a year.
Yeah, 100%.
Tom's right. Oh my god.
I think there's something. I think there's something we don't. There's something we don't know going on where like either the Ravens are asking for something absurd that like these teams are turning like, or they're saying no for like leverage or like I feel like there's something we don't know that's happening.
Well, so the whole thing with the whole franchise tag is whatever team offers him something, the Ravens can match that.
Yeah.
I don't know
is he the non-exclusive or exclusive?
Yeah,
he got the non-exclusive tag. I'll also say, and that's another place where like low-key agents kind of matter in terms of dealing with the media. Like it's kind of shady because they matter because they leak shit, and so then it kind of just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But they are very good at like getting their client's story out there. And like right now, I'm pretty sure basically everything we're hearing about this is basically just whatever the Ravens want us to hear.
Right.
Or whatever the owners are wanting.
Yeah, it's just a mess.
I will say there's also some of this that is very much like, I think everybody's pissed at Cleveland for the deal they gave Watson. And this seems to be like a, not like coordinated because that would be wildly illegal, but like a concerted effort by all of the owners independently to like drive the market back down a little bit.
Well, that was my other point, saying that I feel as though like NFL owners are basically like gatekeeping like a fully guaranteed contract after Deshaun Watson got one. But somehow they allowed Deshaun Watson, who has all these cases against him, to get it.
Okay, they didn't allow. Jimmy Haslam decided Deshaun Watson would get that, right? Like it's an interesting thing. So, like, you can argue that he reset the market, or you can argue that he took the one slot that was available at.
Right.
Where, like, there was an owner crazy enough to give the player that contract.
The problem is that one slot, and it should just be an isolated case, but the problem is now, like, everyone's like, wait, they did that? Why can't y'all do that?
Exactly.
Are there ever
and they're like, no, wait, that's not a normal thing.
No, the Browns were reportedly bidding against themselves in that. Like, I think I remember seeing reporting that they were like 20 mil over the nearest like competitor, like other people bidding, and it was just like, yes, this is just so you will immediately sign. We understand what Cleveland is.
It's just like funny, like when I hear people say, like, I know what they mean by bidding it themselves, but I like picture in my head like Jimmy's like, give him 10 more. Is like, Jimmy, like no one else bid. Give him $5 more million.
Am I remembering correctly, or the last time Lamar did negotiations was one of his parents involved, like his mom or something?
His mom is still helping him out.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's him and his mom like representing him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I'm sure there's a lawyer involved somewhere when they get to like actual contract time. There's somebody with a law.
I would hope so.
Because like there has to be somebody with a law degree involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can just totally fuck with that.
Yeah, he's just not paying
with the language
money for an agent.
Yeah.
Has he ever said why? He just
I
like.
Really, I mean, I kind of knew like what agents did, but they do serve that is a very valuable like purpose, and that you're not hearing the criticism from the organization, and you don't have that because you're just, if you hear that, you're right, you're just hearing, you're gonna have that in your head trying to playing or just trying to practice or just
Right.
Hey,
And also, the organization doesn't have to hear the criticism from you. They don't have to hear Lamar talk about the Ravens' awful ratings in that player survey we were talking about last week.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's
like,
that is a very valuable thing. I think that some people overlook.
yeah.
But yeah, I think I agree. I don't understand like why you see Daniel Jones get that money and you just like Lamar.
Dude, I was
the Ravens
so much better than Daniel Jones.
No, it's just annoying.
when
there is going to be like a couple teams or a team that's going to be like, fuck it, I'll do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, and when that Schefter thing came out, I was I got so bad. I was like,
I really wish he had ended it as the Jets have agreed to a trade with the Ravens. ... Like he should have cut it off there and then done the second thing about trading for Virginia Tech's own Chuck Clark.
oh no, I'm talking about Lamar to the Commanders thing.
You weren't the only one.
Once again, Jackson deserves to be lied to.
I can't believe I believed that.
I actually believe it too, but I'm pretty
I
gullible.
can't believe you think Dan Snyder would do that.
Well,
hey, to be fair, there was some pretty bad news stories about him last week. He needs a smoke screen.
Yeah, well, I didn't believe Adam Schefter was capable of trolling that hard. Like, he kept it together really well in that interview, and then I also because the whole thing, like PFT's reasoning why he believed it was because he's like, well, Dan Snyder, I wouldn't put it past him to fuck over the next group of owners by giving him way too long of a guaranteed contract, which like the report was like it was 6 guaranteed years.
The John Carlos Stanton deal in Miami, which they signed knowing full well they were going to sell the team.
Yeah. So that was PFT's reasoning for believing it. I was like, okay, well that does make sense. Dan Snyder would do that.
Actually.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I texted my dad. I was like, they're going to be Super Bowl contenders. I was like, so bad. Got me so bad.
This idiot.
Not that I was that happy about it. Like I said, like I haven't been.
To sell the team, don't you not want to sign anyone?
I mean,
the team's gonna sell if he actually wants it to sell.
Yeah.
If they had a different ownership, I think they would have actually gone after Lamar.
Yeah.
It's for real.
Yeah. Good luck with Sam Howell or Taylor Heineke or whoever the fuck y'all have.
I don't think Sam Howell is bad. I think.
Why? But if Lamar's available,
man, the last time I saw that young of a quarterback come out of UNC, his name was Mitch Trubisky. So I'm just like, I'm scarred.
So one of the DC radio guys today came out with I think he is trying to talk himself into feeling better that we're not going after Lamar. But he came out with a spin zone today to be like to try to
he's got some copium
to try to rationalize. Seriously. Yeah. So his thing was like, well, what would you rather have? Sam Howell and $223 million or Lamar Jackson and $175 million? He's like, obviously Sam Howell. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Lamar, 100% Lamar. Right? What are you going to buy with that extra $50 million that will make up the gap between Sam Howell and Lamar Jackson?
I know. He also was like, well, he hasn't actually been that great since 2019. Like, all right.
You guys would have been so good if it's Lamar and Terry and Jahan Dotson.
I know. That's why I was like, holy shit. Yeah, I know.
Love Scary Terry.
Yeah.
Great nickname. It is elite.
Yes. It is the fact though that there's 2 Scary Terrys. Like.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
There can only be one.
And no, we're gonna give it to McLaurin.
He is a lot better than Terry Rozier. So yeah.
Yes. Now a couple years ago when Terry wasn't in the league and Rozier was also with Boston. Yes.
For 5 games. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one playoff series, he went crazy. Yeah.
Everyone's like, Scary Terry. Yeah.
Isn't Terry McLaurin in Carolina now?
Rozier? Yeah, he plays for the Hornets.
Or Charlotte, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Terry McLaurin. Since his first year when I was like, they have nothing at quarterback, and this dude is carrying them.
He came out of Ohio State, right?
Yeah, but I knew he was good, but then I was watching him, I was like, they have nothing at quarterback, and he is like airing who's ever back there.
When in doubt, you ever try to figure out where a receiver is coming from, it's probably Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
They are wide receiver, yeah.
Make those quarterbacks look a lot better than they actually are.
Garrett Wilson, Jackson, Jigma, Chris Olave, Terry McLaurin.
There's a lot of Bama guys.
I was going to say, Bama's starting to turn into
yeah.
that too. Yeah.
There's other Ohio State guys I can't think of.
Also, I mean, like, if you're going for just a sheer 1-2, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson probably take
LSU.
it.
Yeah.
LSU with
that
those
LSU
two.
Offense is
That LSU offense was stupid.
probably one of the top.
I completely misevaluated what Justin Jefferson was going to be. I'm like, yeah, he'll be an okay slot guy because that's what he had to do at LSU because Jamar Chase was there.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that is probably actually the best testament to Jamar Chase's skill is he made Justin Jefferson the slot guy.
And now you see them both in the NFL, you're like, yeah, I can understand why really LSU put up like 50 points every game.
When undefeated, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it would have been reasonable back then to be like, well, is Joe Burrow actually that good? Or
Oh,
Yeah.
Sure. I was skeptical.
And it turns out he was.
Yep, that offense
Yeah,
was
I
just insane. Who was
All you
from,
really
like,
need is just one of them with Jamar Chase.
Who was the running back?
Randy Moss's team had worked, or Randy Moss's kid had worked out because he was the tight end on that team.
Yeah, he was.
Who was
It
the-
was like I thought he was supposed to be better than he ended up being. That's the thing.
Who was the running back? Was it Darius Geis?
No, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Also, I like Darius Geis a lot coming out of LSU, but obviously,
Yeah, it didn't work out.
Didn't Patrick Mahomes make that call to Andy Reid saying we need to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the
I believe
draft?
it. I mean, he was pretty nice in college.
Yes.
Once again, kind of easy to see how a guy with that much receiving talent around him would look good as a running back.
But yeah, he was a good running back, but he was a good running back catching passes out of the backfield too.
Yeah, he could
He
catch
worked out
passes and he could block.
Yes,
He was also a
worked
very
really
good
well
blocker.
for that. He worked really. So that's why when he went to Kansas City, I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like,
Yeah.
they'll know how to use it.
Yeah, they were trying
Basically how
to.
they did at LSU.
They're trying to replace what they did with Kareem Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alexis just thought that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was at Clemson. I said, no, that's probably Travis Etienne.
ETN was there for 18 years, so probably ETN.
Yes. And now he's with his teammate again in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he's like a 28-year-old second-year player. It feels
Yeah.
like.
This is gonna be like Stetson Bennett, who's a 26-year-old rookie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The
He actually had, like, obviously we're talking about the combine. He actually did have a pretty decent combine. I'm surprised the arm strength he had.
We can talk about the combine. I watched the combine.
oh
I
god.
used to be, before I liked the
Why?
NFL like, really that much. I liked the combine was my favorite thing to watch.
Okay, the combine is best consumed via highlights. Like,
For
why
sure.
would you ever actually watch it?
Well,
Just because
I
it's
did-
like boring and you like watching. I just like watching the workouts.
Great question.
I mean, it's what you watch because you just happen to be home during the days it's on,
Right.
right? Like, it's the game show network.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I was home the days that they were on.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I like watching like the workout stuff, but that's just me. Like
I don't know.
that's just me like
Thing
liking
is
that
that,
stuff.
like, I also watched the highlights, so I didn't watch the entire thing. I only watched like what I wanted to, got bored, and I would turn it off. And then at that night, I would watch the highlights from that day.
I mean, the only really ones obviously the quarterbacks are the. I mean, that's the one I really always pay attention to whenever they do their workouts. Because I love watching. I love watching those like throwing workouts. Like I like watching like them trying to make throws in different angles, different parts of the field, like deep outs, slant routes,
I can't get
going
into
deep,
it.
like all that other stuff. I do like
Well, I
watching.
did notice, or someone made a point on Twitter. They were saying if you watch all these wide receivers going through the gauntlet, they're always like dropping the ball on the last throw. And guess who it was? It was Max Duggan.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
GCU, right?
I was just having like I thought Will Levis just all right. So if we're gonna just go based off the combine, you don't have to go based off it. But when I just watched Will Levis, I thought he was gonna be better. His arm is like he could throw through a brick wall, but it looks like he can't throw at any other speed. Like he can't like like loft it, or everything's 100 miles an hour.
I'm not convinced by him, but people have also brought up like what was the consensus on like Josh Allen when he was coming? Like, was it the exact same thing?
I think Richardson is a much better comp for Allen.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And also, as I will point out and remind everybody, Logan Thomas. I swear to God, those three people were the same player in college. Josh Allen is not necessarily a great comp.
Yeah, but like you were saying, Josh Allen is a 1 out of all the
we have never seen a quarterback improve as much in the areas that Josh Allen has.
Usually when you're not accurate in college, it's really hard to be accurate.
Not accurate.
Yeah, you're just not accurate.
Well, you brought up the point in the group the other day that Anthony Richardson is only 53% on the year or something like that.
Yeah, he's 54 last year.
The thing is, Josh Allen was always going to get drafted high, though. Like, people knew that even when he was at Wyoming. Like, he was always looked at as, a potential guy, like a big-time potential guy. I don't think Anthony Richardson's always been looked at like that, has he? Like, this feels like a new thing.
Literally, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are different in that sense.
You're right.
Yeah,
Josh Allen, a year out.
Of, Lamar and, all these, mobile quarterbacks.
No, he's not that. He's too big to be that. For that is the comparison.
Yeah.
But
I didn't realize how big he was. I was like, he's 6'4", 244, and he just ran a 4.44. I was like, my God.
He's also, I would say, he is not as accurate as Lamar was in college either.
No, not
Lamar was a much more polished passer than him in college.
Agreed. Yeah, Richardson is very raw, throwing the ball, but you can see, it's always, the potential, but you're right. It takes so much to get there. He has the arm strength, but that's only one part of it.
His ceiling is the highest out of anyone that's coming in.
Yeah, but it's but like you're saying, it's like Josh Allen, you're right. It's so hard to get all of that out.
That never
the majority of those prospects that get drafted that high with that type of skill set, it just really never works out.
Yeah, I mean, but the big part of that's Brian Daboll, he's a fucking magician.
Yes.
He made Josh Allen better. He went and made Daniel Jones better. Josh Allen got worse when he left.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said in the group chat. Yeah, he regressed this year, and you could see that it was basically the big thing was the turnovers.
Turnovers are the big thing, yeah.
He limited a lot of Josh Allen's turnovers, and then he left. Josh Allen's turnovers went up. He went over to Daniel Jones, who had a lot of turnovers. His turnovers went down.
Yeah. That's one of the clearest examples of coaching making a big difference to a QB.
Yeah. Also, I feel just me personally, if you're in the NFL, you need to be around, I would say 62% at least, completion percentage.
College, yeah.
I mean, in the NFL, obviously, you'd like it to be higher.
Oh, you mean to be functioning? Okay.
Yeah. I just can't have you under 60% in the NFL, unless you're amazing somewhere else. Also, Cam Newton's completion percentage in his career was 59.8. I didn't realize that.
Guys, I swear to God, everybody who compares these people to Cam Newton, they're forgetting what Cam Newton was. Please note, that Auburn team, they won a national title. There were 3 NFL players on that team. Cam Newton, Nick Fairway, and the kicker. That is it.
Yep.
That team just hopped on Cam Newton's back, and he dragged them to a national title.
Yeah, I didn't like when people don't
the fact that it's one of the funniest. Yes, it's also one of the funniest things is to go back and look at the coverage before that draft, and in particular, there's a Sports Illustrated cover with the tagline, "Who will be number one?" It's Cam Newton next to Jake Locker and Blaine Gabbert. Who knew the answer to this shit? What are we doing?
Jesus, Jake Locker, what, did he retire after 5 games or something?
Not 5 games. He lasted 2 years, I think, before he just retired out of nowhere.
It's hard.
He pulled an Andrew Luck. Like he just kind of retired out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
he like lives in like a hunting cabin in like Montana now or something. Like
Yeah, I actually saw a very interesting interview with like somebody who tracked him down.
Yeah,
and,
there's
like,
a big
doing a whole
profile.
interview with him.
Yeah, there's a big profile on him a few years ago. Yeah. Yeah, Cam dragged that Panthers team to the Super Bowl. I mean, that team wasn't. They were good, but they weren't like.
Right.
They weren't like Luke Kuechly is probably the only Hall of Famer that was on that team.
Yeah.
Is Luke Kuechly a Hall of Famer?
That's even that. I mean, that's debatable.
Yeah, that's
remember, football has actual standards for its Hall of Fame.
Right.
Like, I don't know, Kuechly probably will get in because he was on track before he, lost all his brain cells.
But that team was like Cam Kuechly, Jonathan Stewart, 37-year-old Steve Smith, and like Greg
Florida
Olsen.
State receiver who can never be in shape.
Kelvin Benjamin. Yeah. Shout out Kelvin Benjamin for winning. We don't win that national title without him. That catch was unbelievable. But he was trash in the NFL.
Bad. I wanted Auburn to win that so bad. Sorry. Just like Nick Marshall. I was a big Nick Marshall guy.
Nick Marshall.
Most people wanted Auburn to win that. Yeah. I think most non-Florida State fans wanted Auburn to win that game.
And they were so close.
It's almost like you guys are unlikable or something, Jackson.
Huh, I wonder if that had anything to do with fucking Jameis Winston that year. I mean,
I feel like that was before he went off the deep end. Because it was after that he has the whole crab legs thing. Is the summer after he wins the national title.
The rape allegations, Yeah.
Oh, did those come out? Did those come out before he won the title or after?
After.
That was was he driver? Is that something else?
Yeah, there was also a student. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was both. Yeah.
The Uber driver was like out in Arizona.
I remember. I do remember.
There was also a Florida State student. Yeah. The one person I thought that was going to be really good in the NFL from that team is our tight end, Jack Nicholson's grandson. What was his name?
Nick O'Leary.
Yeah, O'Leary. He played for the Bills for a while, but he wasn't that good.
Yeah, I liked because I did watch highlights of that and I was like, damn, they did have a good team.
Yeah.
And that was that a young? Was Dalvin on that team?
No, not yet.
Who was the running back though? It was somebody that was pretty good. I can't remember.
Yeah, the running back was really good.
Dalvin wasn't on the team yet. Jesus.
Yeah, that was 2013. We won the.
Was Jalen Ramsey on that team?
Yeah, he
yes,
would have been.
I think so.
He probably. I don't know if he would have been playing, but he would have been on the team.
That team was like absurdly low.
Yeah.
From both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
They're being a little overrated, I think, going into next year. I think we're ranked like 6th right now.
Whoa, what?
Yeah,
6th?
like 5th or 6th, like the like way too early rankings or whatever. Yeah.
In the nation?
Yep.
Or in the ACC?
In the nation.
I was about to say, it's like
they're
6th in the ACC.
Did I miss something at the end of last year?
Well, we ended the year ranked like 15th or 16th, so.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn, I did not know that.
Yeah, they got hot.
Bell's just a stopgap until Dion comes back.
Fuck no! Please don't put that out into the universe.
Did you see that shit with like how he recruits quarterbacks?
No.
He was out here giving some quote about how for quarterbacks we look for people from stable 2-parent home, and like everybody's pointing out you're divorced and your son is your quarterback.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Yes, I did too.
Don't do this.
Twitter was blowing up after that. Like, Jesus Christ.
That wasn't great.
Right. And
then
people were trying to defend it, and then people were like, "What? Like,
dude,
stop."
Why? Just
I was
stop.
like, guys, what are we doing here? Come on.
We can acknowledge that this dude is insane.
Yes.
Or I don't know if he's insane, but he's definitely trolling.
Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say about the combine. Did you guys see the video from a couple years ago? I guess it was going around again of Trey Adams at the combine from 2020. He like during his interview, they asked him like if you could change anything about yourself, what would it be? And his legitimate answer was a bigger dick.
Yes.
But that's honestly like an ultimate like troll job too, because those questions are so stupid from some of those people.
Honestly, that is the answer that question deserves.
Yeah, exactly. There's some of the meetings like yes, like that stuff, like obviously keep professional, but they do ask like dumbass questions. And you hear that, you hear reports like that come out every year. I'm like, why are they asking that? Like you're just trying to be asshole. Like, ask football questions or shit you really need to know. Let's move it along. Like, I don't need to. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, future car salesman Stetson Bennett had a good combine. It looked like to me.
Oh,
He had a stronger arm than I thought he did. Like, I was like, huh. Like, I get it, it's in shorts and a t-shirt, but still, I was like, damn, Stetson, I didn't know you could throw that far.
I don't know. I feel like anything that would make me excited about him is what would have made me excited about Mason Rudolph. So I'm out.
Mason Rudolph, good call. I remember Mason Rudolph coming out of Oklahoma State. I was like, yeah, he's pretty good. And then he played in the NFL. I was like, nah, he's not good.
I remember when Mason Rudolph just got absolutely
Yep.
smacked by Myles Garrett.
Yep.
That was wild. That was like, what, 3 years?
Isn't he the one he made like a racial comment to Myles Garrett or something?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Myles Garrett took his helmet and goes,
Yeah, and beat him over the head with his own helmet. To be fair, that goes back to. Oh no, wait, that wouldn't have been Oklahoma State because Garrett was
Texas A&M.
A&M. Yeah.
I don't think, were they in college at the same time?
They would have been around each other.
Probably overlapped.
But
I
by that
don't
point,
know.
A&M would have already been in the SEC, so they wouldn't have been like conference.
I love instant karma. That's great.
Also, the way he hit him with his helmet, he got so lucky. Like, if he hit him with his helmet a different, like, sort of different way, like, he didn't get the edge, he would have cracked his skull.
Oh yeah.
Like, he was, like, I was like, oh my God, like, he's lucky he didn't just crack his skull open. Like, the way he, like, hit him. That shit was wild.
Going back to the Lamar discussion, this just popped up on my feed. It says Baltimore has 5 days to match an offer sheet that any team signs Lamar Jackson to. It says that team will lose that cap space from the offer until and if Baltimore matches the offer sheet, which means they could enter free agency handicapped from whatever that money standpoint is, potentially losing out on all the top tier agents if you're holding a $40 to $50 million cap space to potentially sign Lamar.
They'll definitely match.
If I'm in that division, like if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm doing it just to drive up the price on. Like, I'm just gonna you know what? 1 year, $50 million. Match it, Baltimore. Fucking match it.
It holds up your own though. It ties up your own money though. Like it's.
Who's Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh needs to tank, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest, they need to fire Mike Tomlin. Not because he's a bad coach, he's a great coach.
Right.
But he's just gonna you're never gonna be able to rebuild because he's always gonna get you to 6-10.
No, but they think they found their guy. They think Kenny Pickett's that dude.
Yeah, oh my God, fucking dumbasses.
Yeah. They already started rebuilding. That's why they drafted Kenny Pickett was the start of the rebuild.
I was about to say.
In a bad way, not in terms of like a good thing, like he's going to bring them up. They were like, we're kind of rebuilding. Let's draft this quarterback.
Speaking of people that I just evaluate as the last quarterback that came out of their school, yeah, he's just Nathan Peterson to me.
Yeah, I was like, I just wasn't a bit like, I understood like all of that, like watching him at Pitt. I was just like, he just doesn't do it for me. Like I was like, yeah. That wasn't a great class though. Last year at all. Who was the second quarterback taken? It was in the second round, wasn't it?
Malik, right?
Yeah, Malik Willis. Yeah.
Malik Willis, and yeah, he did not have a good time this year.
I mean, he was injured and not playing.
But even some of the games where he wasn't injured, there were games where you would just be like, they can't move the ball. He can't throw it to anybody. Like he has no like trying to play quarterback. It's just not working.
No, they clearly didn't even try. Like he had some games where his stat line was like he was 5 for 8. I'm like, they don't even let him throw the ball.
Yeah, but I think he wasn't
that
throwing it
option.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Justin Fields line.
Was Desmond Ridder the same draft or was he the year before?
I don't know, but the past couple.
I think he was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he came out right after Cincinnati made the playoffs, which would have been that year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is actually this is a really deep class. If it's not like, I just look at all the names and I was like, they're not all like great, but they're all good. If that makes sense. it's a pretty deep, like, good class. Good in terms of college quarterbacks that could play in the league. Not in terms of, like, they're all going to be Pro Bowlers. My whole thing is, like, the Bryce Young thing and Justin Fields. Like, I like Justin Fields, but I can understand if the Bears want to, elongate the clock backwards because they don't think they're going to win in 2 years and try to pay him, like, whatever they're going to pay him. Because if they're not going to compete in 2 years, why would you pay? You have to pay him in 2 years. And they have to be in contention winning at that point. You're not going to pay somebody just who's still, like, a team that's still rebuilding. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you wanted,
so.
I mean, I like Justin Fields. I'm just saying, like, and if they kept it, I'd be fine with it. But I do understand when they're like, if we're not going to compete in 2 years, we have to pay him regardless. But if you're not going to be like, if you're going to still be like 7-10, and you have to pay him $250-300 million at that point, you're going to be like, well, wait a second, we don't have a roster yet around him to make them good.
I mean, you're essentially, like, that's essentially the Giants. The Giants could have done the exact same thing.
Right. And that's why I was like, well, I mean, the Giants are now, like, they're
a good roster, actually.
But the Giants are
got a bunch of pretty good players.
Different. The Bears are I don't think they're anywhere near the playoffs yet.
No.
Yeah, but you gotta sit here and think the amount of cap space that they have.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's what they should do, but I do understand the thought process. I originally didn't. I originally was like, no, just keep Justin Fields. But then I was like, if you want to extend the clock, the rookie clock again, I can understand that.
I mean, you got to sit there as a GM, and he probably already worked through all those scenarios, so he probably knows, what he can work with. So obviously that probably did come up in his mind.
Yeah.
But obviously he's like, no, we're going to stick with Justin Fields.
No, I mean, after I saw him play against Clemson, I was like, damn, he's really fucking good. It's like, yeah, they don't have a lot to work with there. A lot of people want to be like, oh, but look, they got Darnell Mooney. They got, like, this guy. And I'm like, they have no offensive line. They have no offensive line. They have no running game. Like, no. They have Darnell Mooney.
Well, the thing is that I think they're about to release David Montgomery. I don't even think he's going to be in Chicago anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Claypool was a disaster. And, yeah.
Yes.
That was just like a wasted, a third-round pick on Claypool?
Yeah.
I don't really get what happened there. Like, he looked like he was going to be pretty good when his first year in Pittsburgh. But
yes.
Things happen.
Him and Juju, like, it was like Pittsburgh looked like they were in such a good position.
But they both are like head cases, though.
It's because they went on TikTok.
I know.
That's why.
Well, Juju's like that whole thing, but Chase made those. What was it? I remember one game he, like, celebrated when they were, like, down by, like, 3 points, and he, like, celebrated.
It was like 10 seconds left.
He wouldn't put the ball
But
down.
it wasn't just that stuff. He did other stuff, like, in the locker room, similar to what AB used to do, where he'd, like IG Live, like, post-game stuff, and be like, hey, look at this shit, or whatever, and I was like, Chase, you're going down a bad path here. Don't go down that path.
No, the Bears GM the other day basically acknowledged that whole thing was a mistake. Like, he didn't actually say it, but he pretty
Ryan
much
Poles.
Yeah.
Is his name Ryan Poles?
Yeah.
Speaking of mistakes, is everybody else as excited as me about Mercedes completely falling apart? Corey?
Oh.
Come on.
I watched.
He's devastated.
How does that? We need to talk about Aston Martin and what they're doing, because it is about to be Red Bull, Ferrari, Aston Martin, Mercedes.
Mercedes. Hey, if Ferrari doesn't get their shit together, Aston's about to jump them. Dude, like, they got more points last race.
How much time do you need on your car? Obviously, Red Bull's got it down. Ferrari has it down. Like,
do they? That fucking Leclerc's fucking car just locked up with how many fucking...
To be fair, they were blaming that one on, like, a manual error. Like, I guess somebody installed something wrong or something, apparently.
Jeez. I mean, the incompetence, man. I don't know. That's human.
oh, it's so funny. When I saw, like, when I saw that, I was like,
It's just like I was laughing.
I'm like, I started laughing. Me and Alexis started laughing. I'm like, no way, this is happening again on the very first race.
Because they were in a good. They had a second and fourth like locked up. And then
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah,
Well, yeah. If you watched last year,
Did they have second, or had Perez already gotten past him? I feel like
he
they
had
had,
not. He was still
it
in
was
second. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Damn.
Oh no, you might be right. He might have been in third. I don't know.
no, I think Sergio.
Oh, well, okay, but Perez, if not, Perez was gaining on him, and as we saw at the end of the race, that Ferrari is terrible on its tires. Like, it just eats those things up.
Well, also the fact that it later came out, like later in the day or like the day after, that Red Bull like burned down their engine. They could have won the race so easily.
Yeah.
And they were
Yeah,
like, yeah, start taking it slow. And Max was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, nah. Like, this season is over in terms of who is winning the constructors and who is winning the drivers.
Oh.
Because Checo can't hang with Max, and nobody can hang with Red Bull. And to
No.
be fair, they are also, generally speaking, they are the team on the grid that is best at in-season improvements. This shit is over.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's at this point, it is all about how high is Aston Martin going to climb, and is Mercedes going to figure out their shit this year?
Yeah, I saw something on TikTok. I don't know how true it was that if Max comes in first, he could literally win the championship by his home race, leave, have Daniel come in and race, and Red Bull can still go 1, 2, 3 in the drivers' championship.
I buy that. That is probably possible.
Yeah, I mean, I had the thought while watching the race. I mean, it's not going to happen, but I was like, Max is literally not going to lose a race. I was like, he looked like it looks
No,
that it's not going to happen, but he looked that good.
Yeah, no, like like normally I would say, look, there's going to be reliability issues, and I still think that there will be reliability issues that cost him 1 or 2 races. But then also you would normally have the one where it's like, okay, this is when you take your engine penalty and you have to start from the back of the grid. He's going to pass everybody. Like, as long as they don't do it at, like, Monaco or some dumbass track where, like, it's impossible to pass. Like, don't do it at Singapore. But if they do it at, like, the U.S. or, like, frickin' Suzuka in Japan, oh, yeah, no, he'll pass everybody. He'll be in the lead by, like, the 30th lap, even if he has to start in 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, they need to start making him so, like, you know how most racing tracks have, like, they have the main start, but then they also, like, on the back straight they have a starting line. They need to just make Max start half a lap behind everybody.
Dude,
like in track, like where they have the guy like on the lanes.
yeah, when I was a kid and I used to go, I went for the first time in forever this year, but to these motocross races in Maryland. Like this one dude, James Stewart, used to dominate the motocross series. And this one race I went to, he crashed like off the starting gate and was in dead last by like a lot. Got back on his bike, ends up winning the race. And I was like, part of me was like, I think he just did that because he was bored of winning from like he just needed something to like a more exciting way to win. Yeah, getting bored running out front. So it's like, yeah, I mean, Max could do that. I mean, some of these races.
Max could probably start behind the safety car at the very beginning of the race. It still win.
Who's the other Aston Martin? It's Stroll, right?
Yeah,
that's Stroll. Incidentally, like there's a lot of reasons to not like Rich Boy Stroll, but that was a very impressive effort on Saturday, and like he does deserve a lot of credit for doing that with like 2 broken wrists.
Yeah,
like
I don't like him. He has a very punchable. He's a very punchable face.
He does. But like the one thing I will say about him is like, yes, okay, he's a Nepo baby. He had his seat bought for him. He's not Nikita Mazepin. Right, like he deserves to be there on his own merit.
He's not Russian,
he just
is
probably
that?
doesn't deserve to have like the safety and security that he does.
Dude,
but
I was about to say it's a little different when Daddy owns the team.
Yeah. And like if you look at he's not embarrassing himself. He's not Latifi, he's not Mazepin.
I just watched the first episode of season 5 of Drive to Survive, and Steiner's comment about Russians was so funny. It's like I don't want to see another rush until the day I'm in the grave or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So funny. I love Steiner's so great.
Steiner's great.
The drive, like him and Mateus like driving through the Italian countryside is so funny.
Oh
that
my
was
God.
such a perfect way to start the season.
Yeah.
Especially for anybody who like knew what was coming down the line with Mattia. Like
Dude.
that was
Steiner's like
that was
simultaneously
chef kiss.
Steiner's simultaneously like the most foul-mouthed person in the show and also like the most wholesome.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna get to it, but like he lives in North Carolina.
Oh really?
Like he's
Oh,
not
yeah.
like he's like one of the team principals that doesn't actually live in England. Like he actually has it looks like a pretty nice house on like a lake in North Carolina.
Nice.
Yeah.
Seems like he speaks every language. Like also.
Well, so fun fact, he's technically Italian. He's just from a portion of Italy where they speak German.
Okay.
So like yeah, he speaks Italian, German,
In English. Yeah.
English, and I'm sure he's got like a few other things mixed in
I
there.
was gonna say probably a few words of French here and there because there's.
Well, I'm sure he knows how to cuss in like every language.
Yeah.
Parlez-vous français?
Oh, they're in Saudi Arabia this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Yeah, Saudi. No, that's this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Saudi.
Freaking Australia is in 2 weekends.
Who's going to
No,
Vegas to
so
see the
Oh, no,
race?
you're right. It is. Whoa. Huh. Why? It doesn't take them that long to get from Bahrain to Saudi Arabia. What are they doing?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. It's literally right. It borders it.
Yeah, I was about to
Yeah.
say, isn't Bahrain like right? Like,
Yeah.
pretty close to
Yeah, because
Saudi
Saudi's
Arabia?
here, and like the UAE and Bahrain and Kuwait are all on the right side of the eastern side of Saudi. They're attached to it. Yeah. It does not take that long, but hey, who knows?
yeah, I
Okay,
got my friend watching the show, and I got him watching the races in the morning. I'm like, it doesn't take that long. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours max.
I liked it about
That's
this.
another thing about Formula One.
As long as Max is out front, it just takes a minute. Like you just need to watch the first lap, and you kind of know how it's gonna
Yeah.
go.
That was the first. Bahrain was the first F1 race I've ever watched. So that was.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, I've seen all the seasons of the show, but
Yeah, but like those, no, it's a very different experience.
no, it was good.
That's like the good thing about like Formula One is that obviously the races are like a lot like quicker, and also it's in the morning. So like when it's done, it's done. Like you're
Still have your whole day,
yeah.
yeah.
Your shit.
Oh, but they're not always in the morning. Sometimes they're in the middle of the night. Like
Right,
we got Australia coming up.
Yeah, Australia.
Yeah.
Also, Vegas is at like 1 a.m.
You trying to go?
They're marketing it for like a dude, and that shit's gonna be so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
It's
I think the cheapest stuff I've heard, and this is like people apparently not even talking about like VIP. Like people are saying like $5,000.
I'm not surprised.
I like signed up for the pre-sale to see how much it is, and it's like thousands of dollars.
Honestly, what we should do like if we're gonna go to one, we should go to Austin
Austin,
because I feel
yeah.
like between Miami and
my
Vegas,
friends went to Austin last year.
or the other one is just do Montreal. Like that one is actually probably
Yeah,
We're gonna do
Austin's
a
great.
different country because all the other countries, the races are like $100.
yeah.
Yeah,
my
Austin would be the
friends-
move.
I feel like Mexico City would be fun, especially if Red Bull's locked it up and can actually just let Checo win, please. I know Max doesn't like. I know Max isn't wired that way, but like, I would love to see them just let Checo win there. Oh, it would be beautiful.
Charles, if you had to give like a wild card that's gonna win a race this season, give me one.
Wild card that's gonna
That could win a race. Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like for it to truly be wild card, I have to be outside of Ferrari, Red Bull, and Aston.
It has to be like that one race where Pierre Gasly won.
Well, so here's the other thing. You know what? I'm going to say this because Gasly's already won a race in his career. Ocon's already won a race in his career. So we're going to eliminate Alpine, and off the same balance, we're going to eliminate Mercedes. So I'll try to pick somebody from like the bottom 5 teams.
Alexis said Lando, but McLaren looked so bad this year.
No, that McLaren
Lando's
was
car
trash.
was rough. Yeah.
fucking like having to stop every 10 laps. No, thank you.
Who was the the guy that ended up with the fastest lap of the race was Zhou something, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah. Honestly, he's probably the best guess because that Haas was looking pretty rough also, and like I can't bet on a Williams to win a race. Like I just can't do it.
What team is that
So
guy
we're
on?
basically left with Alfa Romeo.
Is that what
Which
team that
is-
guy's on?
Romeo, where Joe Guan Yu was on.
Yeah, that's Joel and Terry Bottas, and he's obviously already won some races. So I'll give you, if you're looking for like a first-time race winner this year, I would say Joel would be my like wild
Okay.
card. But to be clear, that is going to require like a very
Yeah.
chaotic race.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm putting all my money on him to win the next race.
Well, it was like when Pierre
mean,
won and
Saudi's
like,
basically a street course, so you can get some weird shit. I wouldn't make it that, but
McLaren went like 2-3 or 1-2 in a race, and it was because like Ferrari and Red Bull took each other out, and like the Mercedes.
No, it was Monza like 2 years ago, and basically Max and Lewis took each other out, and Ferrari was just slow, and like the McLaren, so for Monza, everybody develops like a very special setup, right? Because it's basically a NASCAR circuit. You're basically just flat out for like 95% of the lap. So they do like super low drag configurations, and McLaren just had a really good setup. And so they were the fastest car outside of those two that day. And so Danny Rick won.
He's out this year, right? For now.
He is out this year, yeah. It is ironic that like as much as everybody like, shits on his performances at McLaren, and it wasn't good, he is like he has won more races for McLaren than Lando has.
Yeah, it's just crazy though, like watching that show and seeing him like jump from team to team to team, and him being like, always being, well, there's this problem, there's this. I'm like, at some point, you're the problem. Like,
So all right.
The common
I
denominator.
understand him leaving Red Bull because like I think the dude very clearly had issues with being the number 2 driver at that point. So I get why he left. It wasn't the smart decision for his career, but I get why he did it. Renault, and then I guess eventually they became Alpine, but I think they were still Renault when he left. That was the perfect situation for him. Like they were designing everything around him, and like he had full control of everything.
In a later episode on season 5, that like Renault was literally designing everything for him to be the number 1 driver, and then he just left.
he just got impatient,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Like, it just wasn't happening quick enough for him or something. Like,
I guess so. He goes to McLaren, but like here's the awkward thing with McLaren is they set up their car very differently from Red Bull. Right, Lando Norris likes a car that understeers, essentially. Right, you have to it takes a bit more effort to turn it into the corner. If you look at the Red Bulls, they are twitchy as hell. Like they are ready to slide out at a moment's notice, and like that is the car that Daniel Ricciardo had been driving his entire career. And suddenly he gets to McLaren, and he has to drive the car the way Lando Norris wants it to be driven. And it's also why I think all the stories about like, oh, Lando's looking for a new team. Maybe he's going to go try to take Checo's seat at Red Bull. That's not going to go well for him. Like, I promise you, he's just going to be a fish out of water if he tries to go there.
Wasn't he trying to leverage a contract with Red Bull to get more money out of McLaren?
I think after the way this first race went, I think he is and like preseason testing and all of that, I think he is very serious about trying to get out of McLaren. Like they are a team that has been going in the wrong direction for a very long time.
he seems like he's
they
got
won a world title in 2007 with Lewis.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And then basically the new engine regulations come in 2012. They partner up with Honda, who produced what Fernando Alonso called a GP2 engine, or basically an F2 engine, right? Like minor league. He was literally calling this team minor league, and they've only gotten worse since then.
That's
like that is not a team I would want to jump on board.
Lando seems like he's got a bit of an ego, no? Like,
He does, but they all do.
yeah,
I was about to say.
Like, there's none of them that are actually humble.
yeah.
Like there's some that look humble compared to the other ones,
I was gonna say like,
but none of them are actually humble.
I was gonna say like, Sainz seems pretty down to earth.
Yeah, no. Sainz is a fucking psychopath.
Yeah. So
He's just not like Max levels, right?
Yeah.
Like Max is just out here like the fucking Terminator, making everybody else look like a normal human being. When secretly it's just like, you know what it is? It's the fucking Predator movie where they take all of those killers and just drop them on the planet with the Predator. So like you wind up rooting for like a bunch of mass murderers. That is basically F1 with Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to be sort of like a psycho in these like big ass sports, like in these really high level sports in a way, and kind of douchey.
When there's only 20 people, I mean.
Yeah, well, and also, like, particularly with the risk involved in this one, right? Like, we are currently going through, I think, the second longest run that they've had without a driver dying. And we're only at, like, 9 years. I don't even think we're at 10. Like, these people are seriously risking their lives.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name a couple years ago was really lucky, the Haas guy, to get out of that.
Grosjean. Yeah.
He races.
What was the crash? What was the crash last year? That was like.
Going you up against the
going like upside down into the fence. Yeah, that one was pretty scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. It's honestly like as morbid as it is. It's kind of the thing I'm curious about with Drive to Survive is how would they handle that? Because it's not rare enough. Like I have to believe they've had the discussion.
They've definitely had the discussion. Yeah.
About like how they would deal with it if it happened.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Would they not air the season? Would they do a whole tribute episode to the guy? Like, what? Yeah, I'm really curious.
Yeah, no, I think they'd still probably do the season and do like a tribute episode and just like not show any of the race at all. But like that would be weird.
Yeah. Grosjean was
I feel
really
like it'd be awkward anyway. You did it. And like, cause it would,
right, like there's not a good answer for them to do it.
Yeah,
for them to do it.
Well, to be fair, when they were covering the crash this past year, it was kind of awkward as well. But they also brought him in and was like, "Look, he's alive."
Yeah.
They did that same thing with the Grosjean crash when his car erupted.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they very clearly have a way that they do the near misses, which. Here's the one thing that I will say. If you are seeing any footage of the crash on Drive to Survive, it's a pretty safe bet that the guy survived.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Like, they're not going to show any of it if the guy dies.
That's usually with a lot of these documentaries. Like, they're not going to, like, they're not going to show certain things and then not show the person later in the interview. Be like, hey, listen, like...
Yeah.
Speaking of death
like,
on
here's this event that happened, and then we're like, oh, okay, so I get to we'll talk about the guy and how he went through it. It's like, oh, but he actually died. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they make pretty certain to not make it a cliffhanger as to whether the person's alive. Like they led with the Grosjean interview.
Like a pretty serious
Yeah.
Because that Grosjean one was terrifying. They did a decent job of building suspense in the Drive to Survive episode, but watching that one live, that was one of the races when I was first getting back into it.
Yeah.
Because I watched a bunch as a kid and then I sort of fell off through college. And I got back in during the pandemic and that was one of the first races I was watching. That was terrifying live.
Yeah, I mean
it was a minute and a half, I think.
It doesn't look like there's any shot somebody could survive that. Yeah.
No, none at all.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is that cars were catching fire last year, and that was just giving me anxiety because I was like, oh shit, what happens if it blows up or something like that? I'm like, the fuel tanks are pretty well protected from the engine just catching on fire. That was a really freak one. But if it's just the engine's running too hot, they have pretty good protections in there for the fuel tank on those ones.
Auto racing crashes are weird like that though, because you can have the one like Grosjean where he survived that, but then you can have a NASCAR crash where the car just kind of turns over and people have died from a car just flipping over on its head, that don't even look that bad. So.
Yeah, because honestly, as terrifying the way as the fire was with Grosjean's, the way he went, the car goes through the barrier, that was honestly kind of the scariest part. Because back in the day, there were a whole bunch of F1 drivers who got basically beheaded by their cars going through the barriers
Jeez.
like that.
Yeah.
How did you get into it when you were young, Charles? Like, how did you like?
Honestly, I was just like watching TV. It was like some Sunday morning or something, and I happened to flip by speed. And I'm like, hey, this looks pretty cool.
Because it's not like, honestly, it's only gotten really big. I feel like in the United States,
Drive to Survive
came out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, I just kind of was flipping around TV one weekend and saw it. I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a documentary about Lewis Hamilton's brother, I think. I think he is CP.
Yeah.
CP? Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only, but I saw that like 10, 11 years ago, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, and I didn't really know a lot about it, and I just knew, and they were like, this is
His
Lewis
brother
Hamilton.
is actually, yeah, his brother's actually a pretty good in like the sim racing scene.
Yes.
He was.
Yes.
I don't remember if he was ever like a world champion, but he was really good on that. And now he works as like a commentator for the F1 esports series.
I remember they did make a car out to try it, so he could actually drive in
He
the
did
car.
some
like,
actual
with
racing driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I'm glad they were able to figure that out. At least they let him drive, at least just like recreationally, and use like his skills and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, sim racing, he was like really good at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Lewis actually mentioned that. He did like, I remember when Jesus and Mero had Lewis on, they like basically had like a whole little sim racing setup. He's like, oh no, you should have my brother on. He's way better at this than me.
Charles, is it weird like now when you were younger and you saw it for the first time and now everyone likes it?
Not really. Like, I think it's just cool. It's nice to have people to talk with about. I was like, the weird thing. Okay, so my first season that I really watched it was Lewis Hamilton's first season, and like being him as the elder statesman will never not be weird to me. Like, especially when he came in, he was just as reckless as all these young guys he complains about now. Like, the dude was out here wrecking people every other race in his first season. Like, everybody hated him and thought he was way too aggressive of a driver.
Yeah.
06.
So it threw me off this in watching the race when him and Alonso were next to each other, and the announcer was like, the two oldest men in the Formula One. I was like, it throws me off hearing that about Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, well, and they were teammates back in the day at McLaren.
Yeah. Alonso was so great on the radio.
Lewis Hamilton is, and he's 38.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like Alonso, I hope when Alonso retires, that they move him to the broadcasting.
He was so
he was
good.
Basically calling the race while driving.
Yeah,
it.
That's what all the commentary about him. They're like, yeah, he like 25% of his brain to drive and 75% to drive everybody else's car.
Else's cars.
Yeah.
Dude.
He's so funny. Like what did he call? I mean, he's really happy with that car. What did he call it? Like wonderful or beautiful to drive or something at the end? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my favorite quote from him was last year in France when, like, his engineer is like, Fernando, the car's behind you are gaining on you. And he's just like, good, let them get close. That's when I break them. Just like, god damn.
He's so funny. The little, I put it in the group chat, but when he passed Carlos and he just goes, bye-bye.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Like Tyreek Hill when he was for attention.
I know. You should have. Fernando should have turned around and liked it a little. Yeah.
Oh god.
So funny.
Yeah, dude, that had to be horrible for Carlos, because like they're both Spanish drivers. Carlos probably came up as like a massive Alonso fan, and then to just have him like toasting you.
Yeah, that's tough.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
In what should be an inferior car, yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
It's tough. Yeah, what else have been?
It's maybe a dumb question, but is there any American drivers in F1?
Yeah, there's a new one this year, Logan Sargent for Williams, who had a very good race. He actually, I think, finished highest of all the rookies.
Is that the only one, or is there other ones?
Yeah, there's only Logan. There was a push last year to try and get Colton Herta, one of the AlphaTauri seats. He's an IndyCar driver, but they couldn't get him. There's basically rules that they set up after Max came along. Everybody was freaking out because Max got to F1 as a 16-year-old, and basically everybody started freaking out because, like, oh God, everybody's going to start hiring 16-year-olds who aren't ready. One, Max was ready. Two, nobody's going to fucking do that. Max is an exception. But they set up rules for something called a super license, and basically you earn points by competing in non-F1 series. And they really undervalue IndyCar for some political reasons with the FIA. But so they couldn't get Logan or Colton Herta a super license. My guess is they'll probably try again this year, and he probably will be able to. But
is there a reason there's only one American racer in F1?
Well, okay, you got to think about it in terms of a lot. It just hasn't been that big where the pipeline wasn't getting fed for the longest time. Right. And then also a lot of them wind up in IndyCar because it's the biggest thing they know. And then also you have obviously the ones who get funneled over to NASCAR, which is a completely different skill set. So there's a lot of reasons why.
I wonder if the pipeline's now going to increase a lot.
Oh yeah, no, we're only going to see more from here. Right. I'm certain of that.
There also is a thing about where teams are
coming in, they'll start filling them.
Yeah, that too. I was gonna say part of it too is a lot of teams are based in other countries, and sometimes teams like Ferrari like having an Italian guy in the team, or for sponsorships and stuff, that kind of thing influences who hires you too.
There's only 20 race spots, so it's only right.
So they're looking at potentially expanding, but at the moment there are only 20 spots.
So I'm wondering, you gotta be, if you're coming from America, you gotta be a top. Echelon, even get a seat.
So you got to sit here and think. There's also F2 and the electrical one as well. So yeah. So they could rate. That's where Logan came from. Was Formula 2, right?
Yeah. Well, so it's a ladder, right? You have F3, F2, F1, and the idea is that you climb up the ladder, right? And there's also some stuff below F3. So there's what are called F4, but there's not a unified one. It's there's a bunch of individual ones around the globe. And then if you do well in those, you generally get to move up to F3.
Is it
F2,
soccer?
Eventually F1. No, it's not mandated promotion. It's more you do well in that, and then somebody in one of the teams in that next division up is okay, hey, come drive for us now.
Where would the F2, F3 races be? Are they the same?
They usually travel. Yeah, they travel alongside F1. They just don't do the whole series. So they'll be at certain spots. That same race weekend that F1 is there.
Yeah, usually. They're really annoying to schedule for work.
Yeah, I bet.
They move their practice and qualifying times around a lot. It's really annoying.
Yeah. Do they?
Yeah. Especially because it's at weird time. It's overnight all the time, and it's
they're basically that's what's happening during the day in non-prime time in Europe, and then you have the race and the F1 stuff. That's all prime time in Europe, which lines up decently well with our morning.
Yeah,
I guess that's part of you building your way up to that. You kind of have to go through the
Well, you have to get the super license.
Right,
yeah. So to get those points, the most points available are in F2. Right, if you do really well in F2, I think as long as you finish top 3, you can get enough points in one season of F2 to get to F1.
And that's what was happening with Logan last year. There was speculation they didn't know if Logan was going to have enough points to even get the super license.
Yeah, it came down to the last F2 race, and it was funny because basically it came down to as long as he doesn't crash into anybody, he will get his super license.
Yeah.
And so you could see that race, everybody was just dive bombing him to get past him because it's he can't drive defensively at all because if he's involved in a crash, he doesn't get to go to F1. And so he's just letting everybody past him, driving like a grandpa. And it was I was watching this race and he was getting on the radio and he was just he was so pissed. He was complaining to his racing the entire time. Why is everybody driving like assholes?
Where would you see F2 races? Is it similar to ESPN Plus?
It's on ESPN Plus.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So just don't be Jamie and randomly hate ESPN Plus and you can watch it.
Yeah, that's so weird. That was Ethan.
Ethan
didn't understand.
That was Ethan, not Jamie.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Jamie.
Ethan was where am I going to watch hockey? I'm it's on ESPN Plus. It's on ESPN.
He's so used to watching stuff on YouTube and Apple TV to watch MLB.
Yeah, or it used to be on NBC. For the longest time. Hockey.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I got to bring one non-sports thing up. I just watched, speaking of documentaries, I just watched the documentary on the Murdoch murders. Do you guys follow any of that stuff when it came out?
No.
I read everything I could. I didn't know about it until
Wait. Is it pronounced Murdoch or Murdaugh?
That's the family pronounces it Murdoch. They're themselves,
Okay.
but like everybody
For a
else.
second, I got really excited and thought that, like, Fox News was out here murdering people.
No,
But no,
it's-
we're talking about those South Carolina lawyers, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's spelled and pronounced to most people Murdoch, but like the guy himself pronounces it like Murdoch. Like I don't know. I don't know.
It's a
Anyway.
different pronunciation of GH for the end.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. Apparently, it's been a big thing for a couple of years. Like I didn't know anything about it until the verdict came out.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it either.
Well, like, I'd seen like a news story here or there, but it wasn't like a wall-to-wall coverage
Dude,
thing.
that family's insane. They're all four of them are implicated in murders. Because the dad obviously is now guilty of, or whatever, of murdering his wife and son. Paul, the one who died, is the boat incident, like responsible for the boat incident, and then the mom was accused of possibly pushing their maid or whatever housekeeper down the stairs and killing her. And then
I hadn't heard about that one.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, the rumor is she was jealous of the housekeeper. Basically, like the rumor is like essentially like she didn't put in much time in raising her youngest son, and her youngest son was very attached to the housekeeper. And then now there's theoretically like she was like jealous of how much the son loved the housekeeper, so she pushed her down the stairs. And also
Jesus Christ.
Also like the dad put out like got insurance taken out on the property that they killed her on like a week before, and then he collected like $4 million on her death.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And then
so go through like a quick synopsis of this. I've seen this on the news, but I did not know what it is.
Well, and then real quick, and then the other son, the older son who's still alive, is implicated in this other kid's death from a couple years ago.
Well, then, like, I think that they're like essentially these kids' grandfather. There was like a mysterious death in basically the exact same way.
Yep.
Like around that he was involved in,
Mm-hmm.
that like everybody's going back now and be like, oh, so you absolutely killed them and then told your son how to do it.
Yeah. So the older son, the one with the older son, was the kid that died is gay, and the rumor in the town is that the older son is gay and had like a relationship with this kid, and it's like really frowned upon where they're from, obviously. So he the rumors
South Carolina,
out of like they're from like rural South Carolina. So the rumors like he basically like out of shame like killed the kid. They ruled it like
so basically this family is very involved in the law in South Carolina, right? Runs a bunch of law firms. I think one of them has been the like district attorney for their county for
100 years,
basically ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like very prominent legal family with a fuck ton of money. So there was an incident a few years back with one of the kids basically got a boating while intoxicated and killed a person. And as part of all of that, people started like poking around the family's finances, and basically it comes out looking like, oh, the father is engaged in some pretty fraudulent behavior. And so people are thinking basically as like a distraction, he killed his wife and son, also possibly to punish the son for bringing all this attention to them. I don't know. But so it looks like he killed his wife and son.
Yeah, so he's a civil lawyer. So basically what was happening is like he was winning these cases for his clients, like massive settlements, and then he was stealing all the money that they were winning.
Damn.
And for the like to they said one to like buy property, like they have like a ton of houses, and then the other also he has a major opioid addiction. Like they said he was taking 60 was it not Vicodin, I don't think. Percocet. He was taking like 60 like Percs or Vicodin per day. So like
Oxy.
That's what it was.
Opiate of choice.
It was Oxy.
Oxy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. He claims he was taking 60 a day, which is fucking nuts. So that's where he said a lot of the money was going to. But yeah.
God damn, at that point you're just not feeling anything.
Yeah.
Actually, it's vaguely amazing you're feeling your heart beating. You should be dead.
Incredible that he's alive. Yeah. But yeah. So the theory is he killed him to distract. Like basically the day that he killed his wife and son was the day that his law firm was going to go public with all the stealing that they found out that he was doing. So they were like, the theory is like he did that to distract from that. Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of fucking crazy, actually.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's nuts.
Dude, they got him because of a Snapchat video his son was taking. Yeah. Right before he died. It took them like over a year to hack into the kid's phone. That's why it like took so long. He claimed he was like at their grandparents' house or something, but then they found a Snapchat video that was timestamped like 5 minutes before they died, where they were together.
It's just crazy how they were all involved. Like it seemed like every part of the family.
Yeah,
was involved.
that's the son like that died. Like I mean, no one deserves to die like that. Like apparently, like he was shot like point blank in the head, basically, like with a shot.
Wouldn't you say like the housekeeper too was involved? Like the wife or something killed somebody too? You say like other people killed people.
The wife killed the housekeeper is what people are.
Yeah, the housekeeper's family is alleging that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, they're all like, I mean, the son was like so the documentary that's on Netflix is about the son primarily that died and like the boating incident. Like that's most of what the documentary is about, and like most of the documentary, the interviewed people are like the other kids on the boat that survived. It was like 6 of them or something, and 1 girl was killed. So most of that documentary is about that, and like that kid is so fucked up. Like such a dick. Like I mean, not that he deserved to die, but like that kid was super fucked up. Like he drove that boat. They tested him in the hospital like hours later, and he was still blowing at 0.25. He was like 3 times over the limit. Like, yeah, they said he was abusing his girlfriend at the time. Like,
yeah, I just saw it on like CNN in passing. I think I was just looking through shit, and I was like, "What is this?" And it was like a big story.
Yeah.
They covered up the girl's death. Like they're all sorts of fucked up. Yeah, it's crazy.
That sounds like a Florida story.
Yeah, it does. It does sound like. I was just surprised they went ahead and released a Netflix documentary before the trial finished. I was like, I guess they can add on to it, but
it's all about that money.
Oh, I mean, if it's about the kid, his story's kind of done.
His story is over. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, it's one of those things. Like they're by far the rich. Like most people in that county are poor, and like that family's super rich. So it's just like they could do whatever they wanted, basically.
It's just like that, like, obviously that whole situation probably doesn't happen a lot, but it's just like some of these small towns, like where you have like a lot of power and money, it just feels like in some of these, just probably doesn't like to this extent. There's probably other stories throughout the country where like
for sure
people just have such deep roots
that we'll never hear about. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll never like.
I never want to live in a place where like the mayor actually matters. Like in the way that they do in those sorts of towns.
Yes.
Right? Like I don't want to live in a place where you can build a dynasty off of just being the mayor. No, thank you.
Dude, speaking of mayors, do you remember the whole thing with Fairfax City Mayor a few years ago that came out when he made national news?
Oh, the drug sting.
Yeah.
Or was it drug and prostitution?
Drug and prostitution, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Wait, that was our mayor?
Yeah, that was our mayor.
I thought that was like some random like dude at the county.
No, that was our mayor.
God damn.
Yeah,
what happened?
He was like buying and selling meth and also fucking prostitutes.
The specific thing was like basically, the police got in a chat room and caught him. Like he was actually chatting to a police officer, but I'm pretty sure the police officer was trying to present as like a 14-year-old girl, and I believe his defense was it wasn't prostitution. I was offering her drugs, and then like if sex happened, sex happened. Was basically his defense.
What a defense.
Well, I mean, I guess he figured, like they've got me on the drug charges. Maybe I can get out of the prostitution part.
What a defense.
I'm trying to see if he's still in jail or not.
Oh, that's an excellent question.
It doesn't look... He only served 3 months.
What?
Wow. Yeah, served 3 months in jail after being arrested for giving meth to an undercover cop. Jeez. The fact that happened in Fairfax City of all places is just bizarre. Wow. Scott Silverthorne. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, I never thought that kind of story would happen there.
Wait, also I saw this earlier today, I guess they were going to make the Jeffrey Epstein list, like, public in the next couple of weeks or something.
Isn't it already out there though?
It is, but it's not like, I thought so too, but I think it's like they're going to actually make it, like, it's out, but it's like not public, if that makes sense.
I'm just curious, like, for what purpose? Because, like, if
Right.
nothing's gonna, like, most people are just gonna be able to say, well, I mean, yeah, I was like on his plane one time, but like,
But also, even if people wanted, all these people are like celebrities and have a lot of money, you're never gonna get anything out of these people. The lawyers and all that stuff involved, you're never gonna get anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's
That's one of those things that. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's like 187 people.
Yeah.
On the list or something.
I don't know. That's just one of those things that, like, I feel like as theory, like, conspiracy theorists, that's what they're called, have just latched onto to the point where I'm like, I would have been interested, but now I feel like the people who are super interested in it are people I don't really want to be, like, associated with.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
this kind of would have been good to see, but I feel like I can't express too much interest in this at this point.
Yeah, I think I watch the doc. I think I did watch the documentary about it too. It's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
But it's just like I just saw it in passing. I was like, oh shit, like, Jesus.
Yeah, it should be something where, like, everybody can agree on, but, like, I feel like a lot of, like, QAnon people got involved in that whole thing, and, like,
Yes. Because those people, you would go down rabbit holes with those people and be like, oh, all right. Never mind.
that actually reminds me.
Not that important.
Talking about conspiracy theories, I was reading a Wikipedia page today, Brandon. I don't remember why
Tupac's still alive.
I looked it up, but for some reason, something reminded Andrew and I of Royce White today. I don't know if you guys remember. The Iowa State guy that wouldn't fly on planes. So something reminded us of him today. I guess we were watching the Iowa State game today anyway, and I looked him up. He has one of the weirdest Wikipedia pages I've ever read.
I believe it.
He first of all, he ran for Congress last year.
Did he?
Yeah. Let me. Here we go.
I can't remember if I did read it at one point, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, it's so weird. Sometimes when you're randomly looking at people's, like, you're like, oh, I kind of want to know about this person. You read it, you're like, Jesus Christ, I didn't know all that.
So he ran as a Republican in the Republican primary in Ilhan Omar's district. He's referred to as a far right pop
district.
What?
Not for last year's election. I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But she ran unopposed the year that the election year I actually lived in her district.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they're going to elect Ilhan Omar, there's no way they're ever going to elect a Republican.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Right.
That's about as radical a Democrat as we have.
So he's referred to as a far right populist who has embraced conspiracy theories, including not limited to the integrity of the 2020 election and satanic influences in the federal government.
This is Royce White?
Yeah.
It went from
second one. Satanic influences in the federal government.
There's more.
Let's go.
There's more. He's referred to the Federal Reserve as a corporate merged power of globalist power of financial tyranny, which is a sentence that doesn't even make sense.
No. We're sticking on that sentence. Let's go through that word by word. I want to do one of those sentence diagrams.
He's literally just saying words he's heard.
Yes.
I appreciated the fact that power was in there twice in 3 words.
And so was of. Of was in there 3 times. A corporate merged power of globalist power of financial tyranny. What does that mean?
I don't know. What the fuck? Yes, let's break this down, please. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this.
Yeah, so let's play Grammarly. How should he have
Let's go on his Wikipedia page and fix it. And be and put in the citations. Fix his horrible sentence.
There's another one where he just him not knowing what words mean. He criticized the LGBTQ community for having a pervasive effect on society. He doesn't know what the word pervasive means.
Who doesn't? That's not what he meant. That is technically like a correct.
It is
sentence for
correct.
what he probably meant, and like it is
Right.
what he meant.
Well,
Essentially, well, it's not actually what he meant, but like it is a valid thing that I could believe that he meant.
He stumbled upon that meaning.
yeah, that word does not have a negative
He
connotation in the way
obviously
he.
meant perversive,
Yeah,
not pervasive, but like
It
pervasive.
worked out in the end, but that's not.
It worked out. Like that is a Republican talking point.
yeah,
Right?
but yeah,
They were
that
probably like, when you read that, people are probably, and his like Republican were like, "Did you mean this?" He's like, "Oh yeah," but like they're like, "Oh yeah," but that still makes sense.
also he led a lot of protests in honor of George Floyd. So, I don't know what's going on with this dude.
You had me in the first.
I mean, I will say, if you are trying to win a congressional seat in that district, you gotta at least act like you cared about that shit.
Yeah,
Like that. I might have been the only white person living in my apartment building when I was there.
he's gone
In
on.
that Purdue district.
He went on Infowars with Alex Jones.
Yep, checks out.
He fought in the MMA for one fight. Also checks
What?
out.
I do remember that.
Well, I mean, okay, so to be fair, I think that's about how many times Herschel Walker fought in MMA. So, retired athlete Republicans. Apparently, you got to take a stop in MMA first.
Herschel Walker.
Yeah, his Royce White's Wikipedia page is just nuts. It's all over the place. He played in the Canadian Basketball League for one season, won the MVP, and led his team to the title. He's done a little bit of everything.
What's fear of flying? Because Canada's a big ass country.
Yeah, I don't know. But just a bizarre Wikipedia page.
Or was he just like bussing around? Fucking.
Does that
He's
count?
also a wordsmith.
Does that count as my presentation
Yes.
Pretty good.
for whenever I get picked? Guess we can go
Yeah.
wrap
Just,
this
like,
up. It is
highlight that.
We should
9:15.
probably go ahead and spin the wheel. We've been
Yep.
talking for a while.
Yeah, it's 9:15. I'm going to spin the wheel and wrap this up.
Wow, we've been talking for an hour and 45 minutes.
No, because I didn't get on right at 7:30. We didn't.
We've been.
You've been talking for an hour 45,
45
yes.
minutes.
We're so
Doesn't mean they
interesting.
heard everything.
So who needs me?
We're just trying to get off of this. He's like, you guys are boring as fuck.
Me, Alex,
A little tired.
and Andrew need to be on it. Yeah. Yeah.
Tiring counting other people's money.
Very suspenseful.
I don't know what you do at the bank. I just didn't assume that.
I was about to say I don't do that.
That's
I
actually-
don't hit
You're not a teller.
It's Andrew.
No.
All right.
Okay.
Well, he wanted to do Royce White as his presentation, so I stole that from him.
Well done,
Don't tell me
Jackson.
that.
Yes.
Stole it from him.
Yeah, actually, don't tell him. Don't
Yeah.
tell him.
We're just
We'll
gonna
figure
all,
out-
like-
we'll figure out if he actually watches this podcast or not.
Fair. Yeah.
Did you do your homework? Did you watch this? Whoever did this.
And if not, we can just jump in and start interjecting
Oh,
all of these Royce White facts. Yeah.
Yeah. Just blow his mind that you guys are up to date on what Royce White's been doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that'll about do it for this week.
Good shit.
So we'll find out soon enough if my dreams were correct on the password for the podcast account. And I'll talk to you guys soon. I need to go watch Survivor so I can do a pod with Corey and Alexis soon.
That's right.
Any more words to Fernando Alonso? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Later.